why I've decided to distance myself from wellness culture and my problem with the wellness culture space right now, coming from a wellness girly herself. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that has been on my mind for a while now, and that is all around why I have felt the need to personally distance myself from online wellness community, I suppose, and the problems I have with the wellness space. Coming from somebody who's been into wellness for a decade now, I've been posting about wellness content for almost 5 years now, and I've just noticed within myself and externally that there are some issues I have with the space. It might be a little bit controversial. I don't hear many people talking about this, so I don't know if it's gonna ruffle some feathers or not, but we're just gonna dive into it today. Not to mention disclaimers that I still love a lot of things that are involved in the umbrella of wellness and health and wellness. It's definitely a passion of mine, and it always has been and always will. But my problem has become the space associated with it online has started to veer too much in certain directions, and here are my problems that I've seen with it. Number one, my problem with the wellness space right now is that it's focusing too much on the aesthetics and the tangible things associated with wellness while forgetting the most important part of it all. In my opinion, and from my own journey and my health journey of disordered eating into gut issues and hormonal issues and doing all the work, all of it, the most important part that I've seen was doing the inner work. Yes, it's important what you're eating. Yes, it's important the workouts that you're doing. But if you're neglecting the inner work, if you do not genuinely like yourself and you're talking negative self-talk to yourself all the time, and you have so much stored negative emotions, then the foods you're eating aren't going to cancel that out, right? And my problem with this space is that it's so focused on take this supplement, eat this thing, do this workout, and then all your problems will go away when it actually might not be the case. And I've seen that in my own personal life. And I'll give an example. When I was healing my relationship with food, the biggest thing about it wasn't actually the food. It was the relationship I had with myself. And so when you start to see this journey of wellness in the sense of how can I overall, very holistically, improve my wellness from my physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental point of view. The spiritual, emotional, mental, that's 3/4 of holistic health. Holistic health has physical, spiritual, emotional, mental, and 3/4 of it is nothing to do with the physical. Yet all we see online is the very physical, tangible parts of it. And yes, that just might be due to the nature of, social media, and it's a lot easier to just show flashy things online and get your attention. But at the end of the day, the biggest changes in my life and my own wellness has come from a result of doing the inner work. My bloating issues, it had at the end of the day, less to do with what I was eating and more to do with my stress levels and my relationship with food, and therefore my relationship with myself. And I have a whole video just on that topic itself, so you can take a look at that on my channel. But my biggest thing that I can impart on you today is to not neglect the most important part of wellness, which is doing the inner work, healing the relationship with yourself, like taking a look at yourself and your life holistically and not just focusing on the physical, tangible parts of it. Because you could be eating all the right things, doing all the right workouts, taking all the right supplements, and if you are still talking mean, horrible to yourself, it's not going to change. Those things are not going to make the biggest difference. I can tell you that for sure from personal experience. Number two, my issue with wellness culture is that it's become too much of a trend. Yes, maybe I'm partly to blame. Maybe I'm a part of this trend. Maybe you're looking at me right now and like, okay, Rebecca, you literally are doing the trends. But my issue with it is that when things become so trendy, we almost lose the intrinsic value of what the message, what the actual value you're getting out of these things, because it gets washed over and it gets overpowered by the trendiness of things, right? We saw the that girl trend, we saw the clean girl aesthetic, we saw all these different trends that comes from a result of the wellness space, and everything starts to look the same. And you start to see the same thing over and over and over again to the point where it's almost like unattainable because it's so trendy. And I am somebody who values value and actually improving one another's life and not necessarily just hopping another trend. I don't care if something's trendy. I don't care about anything trendy, to be honest. And clothes, wellness, designer stuff, whatever the case might be, I care more about value. And the problem with the wellness culture becoming so trendy is that we're losing the value that comes with it. And it's easy to look at things like that and then think it's unattainable for me, when actuality it's just the trend that might be unattainable. The actual value that comes from the health and wellness space is super valuable when you figure out what that means for you. Because the problem is that the trends that you're seeing might not work in your life. You might have a busy job, you have kids to take care of, you have family members, you don't live in a trendy aesthetic looking building, you actually have like real life shit. But yet all you're seeing online is the trendiness of it. And so then therefore you think that's not for me, but it actually can be for you. There's certain parts of it that can be for you. Maybe it looks like taking a 5-minute meditation in the morning, or going for a 10-minute walk when you have a break in between work. Or maybe it just looks like saying something nice to yourself. Maybe it just looks like saying one affirmation. It's really that simple. But yet that simplicity, that message gets lost in the trendiness of it all. Number 3, we are too bombarded with all the information online. We get so overwhelmed by people telling us, take this and eat that. Don't eat that. Don't eat this. You could literally find the same product, the same food, and you will find both sides of the coin saying that's good and that's bad on literally everything. You could see a thing about broccoli and someone will tell you broccoli's a superfood. Someone will tell you broccoli is the worst thing for you. Someone will tell you you have to take this supplement. Somebody will say, no, it's actually this supplement that you have to take. Like, you will find whatever it is that you want to see online for both sides of the coin in the wellness space. And that's why it can become so overwhelming. Trust me, I get it. I've been there. I've gotten overwhelmed with the wellness space many different times. And even as someone who's in the space herself, I've seen how much it can repel you from actually taking action that works for you, because we're just bombarded with too much information online. And so you kind of have to always take a grain of salt when you're scrolling, when you're learning, when you're, watching podcasts, listening to things online, and ask yourself, what feels right for you? What information do you feel like you need to hear today, or do you need to learn today? And if you start to feel overwhelmed, that's a good sign that you need to take a step back, because I'll tell you right now, the space is overwhelming. It just is. And if you let all of that information come to you and you allow it to overwhelm you, you've started to take the goodness of wellness out of it. You're starting to lose that because you're starting to get drowned in the overwhelm. And this is something you have to be super conscious about, because it's easy to get overwhelmed. We have access to too much information these days, point blank, just too much. And so my best piece of advice for you is to take the overwhelm out of wellness by limiting the amount of information that you allow yourself to consume. Maybe that looks like scrolling less. Maybe it looks like unfollowing people. Maybe it looks like taking a step back if you find that you are overwhelmed and you can't even listen to your own inner voice, because that's the biggest piece about wellness, you guys. You have to find your own inner voice and intuition of telling you what you should be eating, what you should be doing, what makes you feel good, what doesn't make you feel good. That's my biggest goal, is to get to a place where my intuition is so strong that I don't even need to listen to anyone else online. Or maybe I hear something and it strikes a chord, and then that leads me down another thing to look into this one product or this one book or this one thing. And then I can find what's meant for me. Because you have to find what's meant for you in the world of wellness through all the overwhelm. So I have a few takeaways for you with this wellness culture coming from a wellness girly herself. Number 1, you have to focus on the inner work just as much as the physical, if not more. Because if you are not looking at yourself holistically, like I said, 3 out of the 4 pillars of holistic health have nothing to do with the physical. And if you're neglecting your mental, emotional, spiritual health, you're already losing the battle. So stop pushing yourself every single day in the gym and neglecting the inner work, the most important work of it all. Find the combination of all of it that works the best for you. And if you don't know how to do the inner work, I have a self-development podcast and YouTube channel now, so you can find more on that. And start slowly but surely. Read the books, listen to the podcast, do the journaling prompts, face the inner things that you've been avoiding, because it's just as important, if not more important. Number 2, don't forget the good parts about wellness, and don't let the trendiness of it all wash away what's actually good about it, the value. Don't lose the value in the trendiness, because wellness is more than just a trend. It can actually help improve your life. And lastly, number 3, consume less if you're becoming overwhelmed, and always follow your own inner compass, because your body knows best. You know your body best. You know yourself best. And the more you follow your own inner compass and not listen to all the noise online, the better your results will be. So thank you so much for listening. If you want even more, go listen to my podcast, The Within You Podcast by Rebecca Leigh, and check out the rest of my videos on my page. Sending love.